right. Ravi, let me firstly thank you for accepting my invitation. I think this is a long way to go because I believe entrepreneurs join through these types of forums, and I'm very much open-minded as an entrepreneur because I love to see how the ecosystems work and how the skilled people can actually contribute to the ecosystem from what they have learned. So thank you once again, Ravi. Just a small note, Ravi. I'll be recording this session, so that I'll be using this as an initiative, so that we could have some more uh, young entrepreneurs fall in line with this, uh, because I wanted to do that. I'm a passionate entrepreneur myself. Ravi, just let me just give you a small background of myself, and then we will be able to start this. So I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've been in the spaces of medical technologies, and then currently specializing in the field of education technologies. So I started my first company back in 2012, uh, before graduating, and then I was able to uh, create a huge impact by creating. Are you familiar with the ECG device, where you have the ECG? So
I'm from a healthcare background, so I understand.
right. In that case, I was able to miniaturize that massive ECG into about this size, and
Wow.
then I was able to commercialize that here in the country, and we did a significant number of clinical trials, and then my ECG was uh, accurate up to about 99.97 in compared to global products. So we
Wow.
did a significant trial over uh, all the provinces here in Sri Lanka, and we had about
Brilliant.
13 cardiologists and cardiologist working with me on that project.
Wow.
So brought forward, and then that was the first company. They made an exit. So started then exit was into an education technology company. So that's EduScope, which I'm currently working in.
I should be
So
taking. I should be talking to you and taking your inputs then.
and that's where we are at the moment. So, Ravi, the main objective of having this discussion with you is actually to have a very fruitful discussion on how the entrepreneurship space has evolved over the past few years. I mean, I honestly see that the entrepreneurial landscape has taken a turn over the past decade very comfortably. The space that I came into back in 2000, I would say comfortably in 2010, 11 is not the ecosystem anymore.
Correct. It's
So,
more.
yeah.
It was a very. It was more of Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and ecosystems were predominantly in Europe and US. I mean, they were not there elsewhere. Now it is caught up everywhere.
Exactly. So that stir of the pot is, to be very honest, fascinating, and it has opened up huge opportunities for young entrepreneurs to come and create opportunities, which was not the case about 6 7 years ago. So I just wanted to make a start and then have a small discussion on this, and then Ravi, to start with your experience before getting into detail, would you be kind to share your experience and then your background? So it will
Oh,
be great.
absolutely.
Yes.
Go. Do a free wheelie. No problems.
Yeah. So maybe you could introduce yourself and then
Sure, I'll do that. I'll do that. So, my career is into two parts. One part is the enterprise part, the first half of my career where I worked with a lot of big enterprises and I learned processes, controls. But the good part was I was working in new verticals in those enterprises. So, I realized that, working in startups and working in enterprise is not difficult or different if you are working for something new, right? So if you're launching a new product in an enterprise, you're doing something new, interesting in an enterprise, it's as good as a startup. The only thing is the enterprise is funding you to experiment. The enterprise is funding you to launch. So I realized, as I said, way back in 2010, 11, I moved from enterprises across to startups, and from the last 15 years, I've worked with about 100 odd startups. I had my own three or four startups. I had failed in miserably in three of them, had no money whatsoever in my pocket. One I exited across and made some money, but then it cleared my debts. So the only learning that I got from it is the two learnings that I got. One, you should do things that you're good at. You should not experiment things that you're not good at. That's one. Second, failure is not a blot. It is a learning. Don't repeat that mistake twice. You repeat, you can fail, but failure is not like a tattoo or so which is permanently inked on your hand, right? It is a learning exercise that you ought to do it, and you learn and not repeat the same mistake twice. The third, not essential one, is choose your first founding team as the ones who'll take up your load, because these are the guys who'll work with the speed that you're working with, right? So take your time in choosing your first team. If you do that, then whatever product that it might be, deep tech, non-deep tech, AI, healthcare, it's just a matter of time that these guys will just hustle and get things out. So I feel product, people, product, and processes. I mean, these are essentials of success, if you ask me, in whatever formats you might have. So first is people. If you have great people, you have a decent, well product, and then you have processes. I think then you're sorted out in whatever. And you look at your successes, you'll find that these three things will be common among all those things that you've not done properly or done properly.
I mean, I couldn't agree more, especially on the fact that where you highlighted about finding the team. I still have the same team working with me, which I've.
Correct. So, see, that's what I said. That's what I said. Whether you're Sri Lankan or an Indian or a Pakistani or a New Zealander, and when you're talking about now, since the global thing is opened up and people have cross-functional teams and cross-border teams, initially they were more restricted to only regions because of language, because of XYZ, right? Now, if that team can build and help you grow and scale up, and they complement each other, you put anything on the desk. You put a deep tech product, you put a healthcare product, you put in specs like this, a watch like this, you put anything on the table and sell it. They will all huddle up, collaborate, and because they are a team, not individuals, right? They will help you sell it better. They will help you market better. They will handle the operations. You just need to give them a vision and put everybody along with you. So my two take is that successful teams, and success is a very relative term, right? So if you have your own version of success and you have a team that is aligning to the vision of success, chances of you getting that vision of success, whether that's doing a series A or exiting or just making some money, right? Daily
Correct.
money is good enough, you know. So
Correct.
people don't understand that startups are small business units and small businesses are also startups, right?
Correct.
People can think startups is only high tech startup, and they used to think like that. Small businesses are also startups, and they need people, they need a product or services, and they need a process and controls. So if you can mandate all of them together now through with technology is a means. You can fast trade, you can build things out with technology, but technology is just a means. You don't build products with technology only. But then if it helps solve a problem, if it helps validate your product in the market, it makes your life so easy. So technology as an enabler, team as a scale up instrument, and your mindset for the vision. I think you marry three of them and you're done.
Precisely. I mean, it's a gel between all those components. So
Correct.
once everything is falling in place, it's a seamless execution, like you correctly put. I would like to like compliment on that statement. Just what you just said. Like when the team is right and when the technology is right, when you put them on the table, it's just a matter of executing. I've seen it firsthand, and it's not the complicated task that you really had in your mind. When you have the proper team, when you have the proper tech laid out on the table, it's just a matter of seeing.
And it's like cricket. No, you understand cricket and you've seen cricket. It's like you don't hit a unless and until. I mean, you are Jay Surya or Virender Sehwag. I mean, both guys you would know because I'm complimenting both of them together. Every ball you can hit for a six unless and you're a starter, right? But then if you have See, your namesake, Attapattu, for that matter, the gentleman from Sri Lanka, he used to not hit for every ball, like Rahul Dravid, right? He used to hit balls that were weak. So you always will get a chance if you are very stable in your innings. You will always get a half volley ball which you can hit out of the park. You have to just wait for that loose balls to hit out of the park. You keep working, you keep slogging, you keep hustling, and get your things in order. If you're
Correct.
compliant, if you're compliant and you run business as a business, your working capital in place, your compliance is in place, your daily sales in place, your daily marketing in place. I think then you have a whatever business you put in, it's just gonna get to the next level. Yeah, that's all I believe.
Understood. Correct, correct. I mean, those are very valued. I mean, those points are valued to the field of an entrepreneur, irrespective of whatever the era we represent. Whether we represent it, let's say, 10, 20 years back, or whether it's entrepreneur coming up, let's say, tomorrow, it's still valid, Ravi.
And it will
So,
always be valid. It is always be
yes.
valid.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, Ravi, just to pick your brains on this particular matter. Now, I've been in the Sri Lankan ecosystem. I've been an entrepreneur for nearly about 13 plus years now. And I've seen this entrepreneurial space in and out. I still see that challenge. And one of the main things that I see is actually, though there is a component called an ecosystem for entrepreneurs, some modules that can complement the ecosystem are not fully found. For example, let's say the funding. Uh,
Investment.
yeah,
Investments is
the
very weak
investments.
in the region. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and let's say incubators, and
Yeah,
so,
accelerators as well.
yeah. So a lack of those now. If you take Sri Lanka, right now we see a couple of modern incubators coming up, and then there are some VCs coming in, and then there are angel networks coming in and funding. But what I would like to know from your side is like how is that comparatively different in India, as well as we can bring in some experience out of India as well on
Okay.
that scale. Yeah.
So, see, the maturity of a company or a maturity of a nation is also how things have evolved, right? It's also dependent on the kind of priority of the nation as well. Now, US has been a developed country and economy from a long time, and it has been a hub for technology as well. So things that have evolved in the US transfer back. They used to take a lot of time to come here across in this side of the earth, but now because of the technology, it is instant.
Yes.
Secondly, a lot of people from this region have gone to the US and exchange their thought process cross border pollination as well. Uh, because of the sheer knowledge transfer, things have been faster. For example, in India, because there are a lot of people from who have gone to the US way back, right? So VCs, VCs or successful entrepreneurs have been there for decades now, right? And they migrate their understanding, their knowledge and know-how to, centers in India, for example, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, right? So ecosystem moves together, right? Nordics, for that matter, has been a hub for innovation for a long time, right? UK was a hub for innovation for a long time. They might have slowed down a little as compared because there's no innovation that is happening quickly in the Nordics or in the European sector as compared to what is happening in the US. There is happening, of course, but as compared to what it was happening about 10 years back, it has slowed down a little because people have moved towards the US because of uh, funds, because of access to funds, because of access to human capital, access to technology, because technology is now the driving force, right? So, in the ecosystem, if you compare, say, for example, India, for that matter, India has come up the curve very high and very fast in terms of understanding that incubators are important. Now, people used to, 10 years, I mean, fast forward now, but if you rewind 10 years back, people did not know the difference between, and they still do not actually, if you ask me honestly, do not know, not many, but do not know the difference between a co working space, an accelerator, or an incubator. Some people really treat co-working as a accelerator. Some people treat incubators as accelerators because they do not exactly know why has it been created. Now, if you look at from what Y Combinator is doing, they were smart enough. They put the first cohort was a bunch of companies which they picked up which could go global, right? So a Dropbox or a Reddit, which were big high-end technology companies or communities, they put them into the first cohort, accelerated them faster, put money into that, and I mean there was access to capital as well, and they went all IPOs, right? Now, how many companies have done that very well? Very few. Why is it so? Because there is a consortium of entrepreneurs who have funds and can identify talent and can boost that talent across with their cross pollination. Bunch of other companies supporting the main company. So the system is moving together. They have already funded 5 companies. They've already some 20 people have funded 55 companies together. So 100 companies have been funded. They picked up a new company. Now these 100 companies are thinking how to make sure this one company picked up can be taken to 10x. So the ecosystem is working. Now, the point in here is, do we have that ecosystem in India? Yes, it is. In some regions, it is. It has evolved very fast. There are a lot of unicorns that have come in. They've done fairly well, and the system is moving. Now the capital has started coming in. Now, when the capital started coming in, people who have made exits or IPO'd, they start putting in money in other companies, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of founders being made. In the process, people are seeing this, so people are trying to become more entrepreneurial in nature. Small businesses are propped up. Need to. Sri Lanka, I think, because of XYZ reasons, and I'm not going political here, because of the stability at times does hamper the innovation. I mean, Sri Lanka is a great country to be in, right? There's access to a great environment. I mean, what is the difference in a Silicon Valley or a San Francisco versus Colombo? I mean, if you look at from a environment perspective, it is Sri Lanka is more greener, right? Um, uh, human capital, Sri Lankans are equally good. They're smart people, nice people, right? So what is the difference? It's access to the ecosystem. Now, tomorrow, if there's a cross pollination in India, Sri Lanka, and say uh, deep tech entrepreneurs start creating cross border pollination and build that ecosystem across, it will not take much of time to get both the countries up the curve in terms of collaboration. So, long story short, I think there's a huge scope in educating the entrepreneurs and small businesses and building those. And it is unfortunately a top down level thing.
Yes.
The government has to be involved,
Exactly.
uh, the state has to be involved to a certain extent to make sure the policies are good, that taxation is good. It's simple to register a company, right? If it is one click to register a company and file your tax, and say there's a tax rebate on small businesses across, which India, for example, has a policy in startup. India has a big structure and help in that. I think it will help the ecosystem and faster it gets. And US has been doing that for donkey years now, right? But I think Asians by default are intelligent. Let me not take it from them at all. Whether it's an Indian, Sri Lankan, Chinese, or Japanese, Koreans, we are intelligent by nature because we've been taught education as a first level is strong, right? So
Yes.
our basics are fundamentally good, and when your basics are good, and we are culturally strong. I mean, no offense to anybody across, but we're culturally strong people, right? So chances of our success depends on two things actually. How is the ecosystem helping us in growing? And second is there funds in the ecosystem so that I can experiment?
Yes.
The fear of failure is 90% chance to stop any founder to start a company because what will my father think? What will be my friend think if I fail? What will be my wife think? What will my husband think? What will my coach think if I fail? That thing has been taken off in the West for a long, long time. Failure is thought as a medal and an experience, and it is taken in a positive way. How many people celebrate failure? Nobody does because they look down. We look down on failures, right? Somebody is out on zero duck for 3 innings. We just write them off. But what if we give him chance and saying that what about the 4th inning he played where he made a knock of 115, yeah, on 38 balls or 48 balls? That innings everybody remembers. So, long story short, I think the concept of experimenting and not working capital, but risk capital. I'm working with you. We go to an investor saying, "Are you willing to fund me? This is a high risk, high returns game. Will you give me risk capital?" I'm not talking about working capital. I don't need working capital. Nobody should ask for working capital. But unless and until it's a very high tech, it's a robotics or a space tech kind of company where your infrastructure requirement is high or GPUs are required. It's an LLM company, right? But then, what if it is? I'm asking for risk capital. Means I'm asking for funding my organization or venture, which has always a 50% chances of failure.
Correct.
How many people are willing to write that check? Not even 1%,
Correct.
maybe point. But then in the US, people do invest in people as well. In the West, they do that. They have been doing that. So people migrate to mitigate the risk and saying the capital deployment is on people rather than just products and services.
Ravi, that's a very enlightening point because, like you correctly put, it's not the working capital, it's the risk tolerance that they have. High risk investors coming into businesses and funding in that stage is not something that I have seen here for a very long time. And one major thing I see in this uh, in this ecosystem as a pain point that needs to be addressed for a very long time, Ravi, is like you correctly put, it's the cross-border accessibility. Now, we have startups coming in, we have the ideas, and we have, let's say, hypothetically, they want to take it to an international level. One major thing that they don't have is the access or the springboard to an international market, right? So that's something that I see and that needs to be handled upfront straight away. So if you take the ecosystem here in Sri Lanka, you have VCs here, you have angel investors here coming in and funding startups, and then uh, what I see that would have been better in this scenario is that we have a entity of the same infrastructure built in a country like US or Europe, right? So then there will be an entity who will be taking this product and then introducing it to a market which is in the US or in the Europe or Australia. I don't see that, Ravi. I don't see it happening for the next 5 to 10 years, and as a result, the innovation that happens in the countries alone, they will die as is.
Yes, and I mean the reason why now, since I've been exposed to the US, Australia, and other geographies, now I understand the difference when I did not have experience. If I now, if Pramadi calls me up and say, Ravi, I have a product. Can we build a GTM for Australia, Europe, and US and take this product to all these markets? My answer will be yes. Let's do it. But if you reach out to people who do not have experience in these markets,
Yes,
how will you scale your product?
precisely. Yeah,
And it is, and in the end, it is all about sales.
yeah.
How many units can you sell, whether that's B2B or B2B2C or B2B? How many units can you sell, to whom you can sell, and how fast can you sell?
Correct. That is how fast can you convert that to cash, right?
Yeah.
Because
Arre,
eventually that
why
is
should
going
I
to
ask for
burn you
working
through.
capital when I have? Yeah. So why do I ask for working capital if I can sell 10,000 units or 20,000 units, which is $20 a unit? I get $20,000 on my desk. I can sell 100,000 more. Can I plan that out? People don't want to do that long cut. They want to do a shortcut, saying buy money, burn money, sell the product.
Yeah, exactly. So that is something I believe that should be bridged, because now let's say even though we are building an entity to build build the entrepreneurship platforms here in Sri Lanka, uh, we will need to have an entity that is similarly built in, let's say, US or in any other country. So the main challenge that I see in those areas is now when you open up that opportunity, uh, it's about liability. Uh,
Hmm.
when you take a product and pitch that product on behalf of the product here in Sri Lanka or let's say in India to an US or Europe market, you will be raising the funds outside the country. And when you raise the funds and then you present it back to the entrepreneurs, it's a responsibility of the entrepreneurs to deliver.
Hmm. Yes.
Because the liability that happens, especially when we are dealing with the current generation, Ravi, especially the Gen Zs and the other generation, the uh, the thing that they don't have, not that they don't have, what they lack is not even responsibility. It's about accountability. Like responsibility can be handed over. Like, let's say I was responsible for this, then I handed over this person to handed over this task to the other person. Okay, then he failed to deliver. Then it comes to me. Then I say, okay, I couldn't deliver because of this. But at the end of the day, who is accountable? Right. So, especially when there is money involved in the table, Ravi, we have to be very responsible because it's hard earned expense put into the table by another person. So it's very important as entrepreneurs to be liable to what is put on the table. So uh, that is a crucial point that is like awfully misunderstood by entrepreneurs. What they see is they want to start something initially and they want people to put in the money, and when they put in the money, they don't see that accountability or the responsibility. They say, okay, this is funded. It doesn't happen like that. So it's due to those I would say grave mistakes that happen in individual ecosystems that this I would say the lack of this bridge that has not been built over the past. I mean that is one main thing that needs to be addressed, Ravi. I'm just trying to build this awareness among this session. That's why I wanted to bring you also on board, because I wanted to share this idea and the thought process for the upcoming entrepreneurs and for entrepreneurs who are on the table. So it's not some magic dust that you put on something and just make it grow, right? It's some hard earned effort of some other person who has faith in you, who has believed in you, who has given you an opportunity. Okay, let's, yeah,
I believe Pramadi, that's how you pronounce your
that's
first
correct.
name, right?
Yes, yes,
Pramadi, the only thing that one should remember is that people invest into people.
correct,
You don't put your money on the horse, you put the money on the jockey.
correct.
People do the reverse. And this is where they falter at times. They say, we have a great AI product, please put the money in the AI product. The person will put the money on the person who's building the AI product.
Yes,
And this is where things go south. People, I mean, why is that people ask for pedigree? I mean, what's the reason for that? We think that the person is intelligent. He's from a good college, so his process controls, ethics would be good. So let's invest into him. He might fail, that's okay. But other things will be taken care of. He'll have a high degree, high intellect, high EQ, high IQ, right? The chances of his failure is less. People now, if you're not from a good pedigree, you keep on saying, why did the good pedigree get the money? Because he's good pedigree, yeah. That's why the money is put on the person, not on the product, yeah. Only 1 in 10 is on the product, but then the person building the product is also important. So it's not Nvidia which got the money; it's the guy who built Nvidia who got the money. But then
correct,
Nvidia is a great product. Elon Musk, Elon gets the money, but his products are equally good because he's so innovative, right?
correct.
People to understand your space has got funding. No. I think the guy who built that, Tesla, he's built 6 companies out of the world. Nobody did ever anybody thought or think about a rocket going from a place X, landing back to the same spot after traveling 2,000 kilometers.
Correct. It was a dream.
And NASA is his vendor. NASA was the supposed to be the provider of all these things, and it had vendors. But NASA itself is the biggest vendor for SpaceX.
Yes,
He has about 9,000 satellites roaming around the world. He controls internet. We don't even understand it. Tomorrow, the
exactly.
internet will stop. The only company that will remain in the world with internet will be SpaceX. Sorry, the one that he has internet, right?
Precisely,
So,
precisely.
so what I'm trying to say here is that people we start doing that same mistake and again, start looking at a great product or a great problem to solve. That is okay, fine, but then are we are we also investing into the person who's innovatively thinking? Because a smart person will still ensure that the company in the bad times will survive, or will I find out a way to sail through. An investor will also think, what if it goes south? What if some COVID thing happens? Does this founder have the ability to drive through crisis? Does this founder have the ability to drive a team, the small team? Can he be frugal? Now, these are the questions that he is asking, because you will also ask the question when you put your money. I mean, a rapid innovation which is amazingly done could be one in 1,000.
Correct,
but you
correct.
don't always get it right.
Yes, not on the first go, definitely. It'll never happen. It's like a very very rare case. You will find such products coming out of the box that can actually hit about $1 million. Yes.
No, so healthcare could have an innovation which nobody would have thought about it right now. Say somebody who's doing, say, maintaining your blood pressure remotely. Now, if you can build a product like this, for example, it'll, and that's innovation, right? And people will want to buy it, or a specs or a handband which can control your sugar levels automatically. You don't have to take a medicine because the construct of the band will be so much that it tampers your body scale into something. Now,
Correct,
these are
correct.
innovations. But again, the person who built the innovation is the person where the money will go. Because he can build, if he can build one, he can build 100 also if he gets money.
Correct.
So I think it is imperative that our ecosystem, and when I say our means it is mine and yours together, should start thinking about, I would say, risk capital as a means to success, and believe in people who are willing to experiment. I mean, how many people are willing to experiment out of 10? One, that's it. Now, if you don't have even one person to fund or one person to, make sure that he changes the world right around us, then I think we're going towards a very bureaucratic, normal 9 to 5 living, which is not available now.
Correct. Ravi, I'm just thinking out loud, and I've seen this market gap for a very long time. I just wanted to get your personal view on this. Now, if we are to hypothetically, let's say, start an entry called X, and that X will be, let's say, located in states, and so then they, let's say we have some people there in that particular location, and if that particular entity uh, is built specifically to raise funds on behalf of startups that are in our countries, let's say Sri Lanka or India, right? And what they do is, because if you look at the execution, and if you look at expenses, so on and so forth, if we need to be very mindful on how we can take it to the next level at a considerable cost. So let's say hypothetically, if you have to build an entity like that, and then that entity is going to lobby on behalf of the products here let's say in Sri Lanka or India, what is the possibility, and what's like the ecosystem in USA to make that happen, Ravi?
See, I think most of the successful, I would say, people have also aligned with funds which are like-minded. For example, the 3 4 guys from say, for example, India who gone to SF or Silicon Valley, they were successful entrepreneurs. They said enough of doing, now let's start a fund. So they aggregated some 50 people to pull in say $2 million. They had $100 million fund. Now this $100 million fund only practices in say healthcare. So the mandate of the fund defines the success parameters, saying irrespective of the country, or for example, if they want to only focus on India, they say Indian focused founders who are investing into or building something innovative in healthcare or health tech. Now things have gone very specific also. Not only healthcare was a broad topic. Now, what in health tech? Is it mental health? Is it is it is it is it is it proper product based? Neuro health, neuroscience. What are you looking in health tech? Initially, it was broad health tech. Health tech could be anything. Medical records, CAO, Philanthropy. Now, if you put in health tech, what in health tech are you looking at? So, if they define micro and macro levels, the success of those companies becomes very very defined. So these people, there are a cluster of these people who are doing it. So if at all you're raising funds for yourself, one part of your company should be looking at, or one part of your system could be in automation as well. AI works very well here. Should be looking constantly, ringing the doors and bells of investors, and one part should be focused on product build up. Now this two engines should work parallelly. Now AI coming in, it can be digitalized and automated. Both routes can be built out. You don't have to physically go to US to build it, but yes, you have to create those road shows once you start knocking the doors with your innovations. So you to answer your question whether you have to be in a country like US where fund success is a little better as compared, uh, answer is it helps. Of course, it helps, but then you can work remotely to get your meetings fixed out with your innovations, and then create your road shows, and then go and meet all of them together and build and pitch and back you go. So you can have your one leg in a growth economy and one leg in a growing economy like Sri Lanka for that matter, right?
Correct. Yes.
And it works very well there. So one part of your team can operate, the top or the middle part of your team can operate from the US, or one part of your sales or operations can be based out of the US, and your investor relations could be based out of the US. The other all operations could be signaled back to the Sri Lankan economy or Sri Lankan state, where all your back end work can happen.
Correct. I think that's exactly how it should work down the line, because we need that springboard to see the world, and the world is developing at a pace that we can't even imagine when it comes to development, when it comes to investment, so on and so forth. So it, the innovation that we think is innovation might not be the innovation that is available in the world when we go and explore the world. So it could be obsolete even by the time that we go and explore the things that are available in the globe as we speak as well. So I'm very passionate about building something like that, Ravi, and I'm trying to bring in the set of people who can actually get together and build something like that, because I believe that the entrepreneurs will be benefited when they see opportunity, and when they see opportunity is very much tied with funding, and high risk funding. That's actually what I wanted to see whether this
It's
ecosystem
doable.
will.
It's
Yeah.
doable. It's doable. The only thing you need to have is 5, 10, 20 odd people who can fund and build that fund, and who are willing to invest into your fund. Simple.
And also, Ravi, not just investing, we will have to have that project management part as well, right? Because
That these are nitty gritties. I mean, as long as it's the previous thing I said, if you have people and if you have processes and if you have a product, your success criteria is taken care of. So once you have people on board who are willing to invest, then project management, etc., technology, etc. So these are all means. First, you need to have 10 guys who can raise their hand saying, "I will put in $500,000." You have a
yes,
$5 million fund. Now that's $5 million, and you can put a critical. These become your limited partners or your general partners, whoever it is, according to your fund. You register your fund somewhere, which is basically tax implications you will check. Once that is done, now you say 100K is the check that I minimum write for any entity which is doing into healthcare, ed tech, front Imkana and all that stuff. And then you build a team for checking it, a team for compliances, a team for audit. So that project management is a left hand work. Right hand work is important is, first of all, are there 10 people who are willing to invest $500,000?
yes, correct. Um, Ravi, I just want to get your thoughts on just one more point. That
Sure.
is now the impact of technology and the digital transformation that has happened, which has changed this entrepreneurial ecosystem, because earlier you need to have SOPs, workflows, so on and so forth, but right now we have agentic AIs coming and taking over, and the agents are simply doing the work of, let's say, about 100 200 people just within a couple of seconds. And how has that disrupted the landscape of technological innovation? From your perspective, I would like to see how it has impacted both the Indian, as well as if you can shed some light on the US market as well.
Yeah, sure. The average age group of founders have decreased by half with AI coming in. Now you don't have to depend upon a coder or a technology guy to build a normal website. So a 70-year-old who was dependent on a website builder in Fiverr or somewhere, he can just go to Lovable and code and get your code and your website on front end, back end live in 5 minutes. So a
Yes.
70-year-old can go and build a company, a small business. So can a 7-year-old also build it now. So the average age between 7 to 70, which initially was some threshold saying you need some amount of coding, some amount of technology know-how, some amount of digital transformation, is all bullshit, has gone down the drain now.
Correct,
You
correct.
don't.
It's no more.
You need to only how to know how to market and sell now. That will not come with AI. See, AI is a means. It doesn't sell. You need to tell what to do so that it can sell.
Correct.
That brains will still be required. No.
Yeah, I think that'll be irreplaceable for a while, like you said.
The agent will help you to build the digital transformation of the sales journey. But the final sales, if it's a B2C product, and with automation coming in, with digital avatars coming in, with digital twins coming in, uh, this will get more easier for somebody to sell. But preparing the whole planet, conundrum of selling out, how to sell, and when to sell, what to tweak. AI can help you in expediting the process. What it will do is, and what it is doing right now as we talk, the thing that used to take about 45 days now can be done in 15 minutes.
Precisely.
The thing that used to take 1 year will happen now, is now happening in 5 minutes. Right from coding, right from designing, right from video editing, right from other things as well. However, it has some certain gaps which will come off the track with age and time. Will be the hallucination part, right? It still hallucinates a little, but the hallucination will decrease. Now it is, say, 10% hallucinating. This will reduce to about 8% till the time it becomes a perfection Skynet, which will come eventually. Eventually, AI will take over everything that a human can do, except probably emotional and cognitive thinking, which also Neuralink does. These guys, we are humans, right? We want to do something which is extraordinary and stupid as well, right? We want to humans to replace humans, right? But then we are also making sure that machines might, most likely, will replace humans in most of the things which humans can do. I just believe that cognitive thinking and creativity to a certain extent are things which will remain. Creative people will still be employable, will still create companies, will still create a lot of great things. Uh, but other things, uh, which are more functional in nature, will be all be replaced with probably be with technology, and faster than we think.
Right, exactly. Um, Ravi, I think we have spent quite a significant time on this entire domain. Just to prior to summing up, may Ravi, I just as a message to the audience. Now, let's say if you are a hypothetical investor who is willing to invest an X amount in an entrepreneur, would you list uh, let's say about three or four key points that an entrepreneur should have in the modern day, because I think it has evolved right now, but still, again, like you correctly said, you would invest in the person, not in the product, right? But if you could list down, let's say, key points, some points that you would look in an entrepreneur prior to coming, I think that'll help the audience, because I would like to see it from your perspective also. How would you put that, Ravi?
Yeah. So first is whether the person is a hustler. Is he? Does he or she know all functions, and is he or she willing to fold their sleeves and work in across functions which he or she doesn't have any idea about, but is aware of it, cognizant of that. That's one. Second, does he or she solving a basic level or a high level or a high degree of problems or gap in the market, which means has he or she validated the idea in the market, and are there customers who are willing to pay and buy the product or services? Has that loop been done? Has the validation of market been done? If not, no investments should go, whether it's me or anybody should not even invest. That's number two, unless and until it's an innovation, which is not happened in the market because there's no validation for innovation, because there was no market. But otherwise, it has to be validated and then given money in any markets. If there are customers who are willing to pay and buy the product and there is a list of them, that means there's a validation done, there is a market. So
Yes.
it's not about total addressable market. It's also about serviceable market. So is there a serviceable market for the product and services? That's number two. Number three is, does that person have a high growth mindset? If
Okay.
he doesn't have a high growth mindset and not looking at scale ups and not looking and looking at those things which are age old, saying, yeah, no, 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 I will not spend money here, I will not spend money there, whereas money is required to be spent there, then it's not growth mindset. It's not frugal. There's a difference. There's a thin line between stupidity, frugal, and growth mindset. There's a very thin line, right? One should identify that thin line and not act stupid when it's required to be growth oriented, right? Or being frugal. Frugal doesn't mean you have to be idiot not to spend money. It doesn't mean that. Frugal means I have limited money. I need to sell or do some XYZ on my priority items. It doesn't mean frugal means I will not spend money. So
Yes.
there's a thin line between stupidity and tactful business. I think the person should know it. And last not the least, I think high degree actually of integrity. I think that's non-combustible, non-negotiable, and that is one thing that decides how the person. I mean, not many people, not many successful people are ethical, but a lot of people who have failed are ethical. But that doesn't mean and stop people from investing into people who are ethical, because they go a long way. I feel ethics are the root cause why we are humans. Otherwise, we are all animals. No.
Correct. Yes.
So why is ethics important? Because I mean, there's too much bad in this universe. There are a lot of bad things that are happening across, right? But what keeps the universe intact is empathy and ethics. Whether that's Sri Lanka, whether that's India or Australia or US, there is a lot of bad things that happen. But the only thing that is the backbone why we are still an Earth spinning in this wide universe hopelessly is ethics and empathy. And let's try to be take that to close to our hearts, families, and business. I believe.
Correct. Uh, I think it's very insightful, Ravi, and I'm pretty sure uh, the the ecosystem for entrepreneurs will evolve gradually, but having those core components to your heart will always create sustainable entrepreneurs for the years to come. And
Absolutely, and this
yeah,
that's our job. Our job is to pass on the baton to people who are smarter than us,
yeah.
more ethical than us, more empathetic than us.
Precisely.
That's
Precisely.
it.
Exactly. So, Ravi, let me firstly and lastly thank you for taking the time for sharing this. It means a lot to us. I'm pretty sure I wanted to start this journey about sharing this entrepreneur experience for a very long time, and I really couldn't kick myself into, but lately I found that fire within me and wanted to bring it out, and I wanted to bring in like-minded people and to share this with the community, because down the line we are not on this world to live forever, and at some point we'll have to definitely exit, and by that point our knowledge should be available for a generation to come. That is my total expectation. So thank you for accepting my invitation, Ravi, and it means a lot. So let's hopefully join back in another session, in a
I
far
look
more
forward.
advanced session.
I
Yeah,
look forward to work, and I look forward to working with you, whatever it may be. When I look forward to that.
sure, sure, right. Thank you very much, Ravi. Then I'll catch up then. Thank you. Bye bye.
Just
See
bye.
you.